Hello, and welcome to Crafting Cat's Advanced Embellishments video tutorial series. This is our follow-up series to our Back to Basics junk journal video tutorial series. You can find the links for all of our videos in the description below, along with links to our Etsy shop and Facebook page. We post a new video every 7 to 10 days. In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to make 3 different kinds of clusters from scraps and fussy cuts and other random bits. So what we'll need is some scraps of paper, just random bits of any size. And we're also going to use some strips of different sizes, just saved from clipping off the edges of things. We also want to use up some scraps of ribbons, lace, and fabric as well. We're going to use some fussy cuts or leftover stickers, postage stamps, whatever you've got, paper flowers, whatever you've got left over that you've been saving from other projects. And of course some shiny bits too. So gold foil, sparkly stickers, ribbons, and things like that. We're of course going to need our journal, and this is the one that we've been working on since the beginning of our Back to Basics junk journal video tutorial series. So for tools, we're going to need a small hole punch, a pair of scissors just in case, a stapler, some paper clips, some brads. This is quite a variety of different kinds of brads, large and small, and a glue stick. Okay, so our first cluster, we're just going to do a basic layered cluster. So first I just want to pick a feature piece, one of these fussy cuts or a sticker maybe, something that would look good as a main feature. We'll try this butterfly here. So now we want to choose some paper pieces, or possibly fabric also, if we want to add some of that in. I think we'll start with some colors that go well with this. And we like to do an odd number of paper and fabric pieces, background pieces. So that's 3. Let's do a little piece of lace and maybe a contrasting piece of fabric. Like maybe a blue? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try this just for a background piece, and then just figure out how we're going to layer these. I like to have rough edges on them, and I don't want them too square. So we're just going to sort of randomly put this stuff together. Cover up that blue a little, and pop in a piece of lace to change our shape. And then see how our butterfly would look on there. I think that looks all right as it is. You don't want to overthink these too much. Now I'm just going to use a paper clip to hold this together, because this is one that I think I want to stitch with my sewing machine. Okay, so we just went ahead and stitched this one, ran it through our sewing machine to hold it all together, but there are other ways to hold your clusters together. So we just made a couple other clusters here, just smash them together real quick. I'm going to show you some different ways. This one I'm just going to staple it in a couple of places so that it all stays together. And then I'm going to use my glue stick to cover the staples with my feature piece. And of course get glue on my fingers. So that's another way to hold your cluster together. If you don't mind looking at the staple, you can just staple right through the middle of it. Let's use a brad on this one. It'll dress it up a little bit and also hopefully coordinate with our colors. Yeah, maybe we'll just do a rhinestone one. So I'm going to hold everything together where I want it to be. And right where it's going to pass through everything, all my layers, I'm going to take my little hole punch, and this is a small diameter hole punch, and just make a little guide hole to put my brad through. And then open up the brad, lay it flat, and that's another way to hold your cluster together. The other way is just to glue it all together. So just take your layers and put a spot of glue or two between each layer so that they stay together. You don't have to be overly generous with the glue. It's okay if your pieces have a little bit of floppy edges. And last, just glue on your feature piece. And that's how you hold it all together with glue. So we've got 4 different ways to hold a cluster together, and this is how we make our basic layered clusters. Okay, our second kind of cluster is a paper strip cluster. So we're going to take just a plain type of paper strip, and then we're going to find an odd number of strips that we like the way they look together. And let's use those. And maybe one more purple one of a different variety. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go with a shorter strip here. Maybe that one. And I'm just going to lay some glue down on my wider strip. And glue the whole surface of it. And then I want to alter the length and the shape of the ends on my strips. And I'm just going to randomly place them It's okay if they overlap. They're probably going to have to on this one. And I want them different lengths. Lay down a little more glue on the edge of that one. Make this one a long one again. And then find a piece on this that I want to keep the most. I kind of like the whole thing. We'll take the ends off though. And figure out what direction I want that to lay. Actually, I think I want it to go right on the edge. So this is our basic strip cluster. And then you can add some flowers or stickers or whatever you think is going to look nice on your strip. And I like to do a little bit of clustering at the top. So maybe some green ones and a purple one or two. And maybe a larger pink one. You don't have to stick down every petal on it, just get it to stay on. Now I just want to add a little bit of something shiny. Maybe we'll just do some of this. Find myself using this stuff a lot, but it just adds such a nice touch to whatever you're working on. Now I just want to choose one piece of maybe a bright purple butterfly. Something to add a main feature to the whole thing. And that is our strip cluster. Okay, so our third kind of cluster is called a band cluster. That's what we call it. And for this, I'm just going to use a bunch of random pieces of this and that, and I just chose some colors that all kind of coordinate well together. So our first chore is to find a strip, and this can be any just scrap strip. It can be a pattern piece. It doesn't have to be. It's up to you. And then we're just going to start with our plain pieces and like our little lace bits here and there, and we'll lay down some glue. I'm just going to do one strip down the middle and then start to place some pieces on here just randomly, overlapping them, layering as we go. Just random pieces. No particular pattern. Just stick stuff on here. So this is our base layer. Then we're going to take some feature pieces and flesh the whole thing out while we cover up the majority of our seams between. And we just want to choose pieces that coordinate well together. Now I'm just adding some pieces that I have more than one of because I just feel like it ties it all together. And I definitely want to go off the edges with some of these pieces. So I'm just sort of doing a black and white layer over the top, breaking up edges here and there, not caring too much about what I cover up. And that is our band cluster. Okay, so now we're just going to add our clusters to our journal. Figure out where we want to put them. Could use that as a tuck right on the edge of that page. So we'll just glue the edge of the page and down like so. I'm okay with it sticking out at the top, but not as much at the bottom. And that will be a tuck. All right, let's find a place to do this strip. We're probably going to use more than one page for this. Could add some interest to that page. I think I like that better. Okay, so I'm just going to go underneath here and snip a bit off, free the edge of my fabric. That looks like we wanted it that way. And just glue that along the bottom of the page. We added some little brads to our strip just to kind of tie it all together. I think they look really cute. So we can use another piece of that strip on a different page. Maybe use more of this pink end over here. We could also make a belly band out of it or a side band, although I think it would probably go better across. And then I'm just going to glue it down. Let's do one of these clusters as a tuck. I'm just going to do the bottom corner of the page with the glue. Stick our cluster down. That can be a tuck for something too. I think our little girl would dress up our pocket there. Give this a little bit of color and interest. Maybe right at the corner of that pocket. And one more. Let's do a top tuck with that one. And we'll just put a strip of glue, stick our little butterfly down, and then we'll have a top tuck for something later. So that is our clusters and how to use them in our junk journal. It's just a few ways that we like to make clusters to add some embellishment. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.